Welcome back to Ancient Edge. Today we venture into the mist-shrouded forests of Scandinavia to uncover a secret that honestly defied nature itself. Pine is soft, fragile, prone to rot and decay. Yet, for centuries, Scandinavian craftspeople transformed this humble softwood into timber harder than oak, so durable that pieces have survived 1,000 years buried in Nordic bogs. This wasn't magic. It was ancient science, refined through generations and well lost to time. Today we uncover how they did it and why this knowledge might hold the answer to our modern sustainability crisis. Walk through modern Scandinavian cities and you'll see architects rediscovering timber. Yet these contemporary marvels, pale compared to what the ancients achieved. In the bogs and marshes of Scandinavia, archaeologists have unearthed wooden structures surviving over 1,000 years, all made from common pine. When tested, this ancient pine outperforms modern oak in compression, water resistance, and biological durability. The central question that haunted researchers was simple. How did they make soft pines so incredibly durable? The answer lies not in a single technique, but in a sophisticated choreography of practices working in harmony. The Scandinavians didn't attempt to remake pine into something it wasn't. They understood its inherent nature so deeply that they learned to coax out its hidden potential. This is the story of how they unlocked that power. The first critical decision came in the forest itself. The Scandinavians understood that not all pine is equal. Old-growth pine from Nordic forests, where winters bite deep and growing seasons are brief, produces wood with tightly compressed growth rings. Each ring represents a year of struggle against cold and scarcity. This naturally denser wood was the foundation of their craft. Once harvested, the process became an act of patient transformation. The timber underwent slow air drying, not weeks but years or even decades. This gradual moisture loss allowed the wood to stabilize evenly, preventing the internal stresses that quick-dried timber experiences. But the Scandinavians went further. Some of their most sophisticated techniques involved applying physical pressure during the drying process. Timbers were weighted beneath tons of stone or wedged into frames under constant compression. This ancient densification crushed the air pockets within the wood's cellular structure, compacting the fibers themselves and increasing density by as much as 30%. The result was wood that was genuinely harder, stronger, and more resistant to impact and wear. Yet perhaps most remarkable was their sophisticated use of pine's own chemistry. Pine is rich in natural resins, protective compounds the tree produces against insects and disease. The craftspeople recognized these could be amplified. They harvested pine when resin flow was highest, then treated the timber with pine tar, a dark, viscous substance produced by heating pine wood in low oxygen conditions. This tar sealed the surface, repelled water, and infused the timber with additional protective compounds. Some craftspeople employed controlled charring on the wood's surface, a technique that removed residual moisture and created a glass-like, nearly impervious exterior. The charred surface became resistant to both moisture infiltration and the fungi and insects that prey on exposed wood. This wasn't crude burning, it was precise, guided by intimate knowledge of how fire and wood interact. Durability demanded more than just hardness. The Scandinavians, you see, had to solve the problem of time itself, the slow, relentless decay that claims most organic materials. Their preservation techniques, honestly, reveal a pretty sophisticated understanding of chemistry that, well, science wouldn't formally articulate for centuries. One strategy involved deliberately burying timber in bogs, environments that might seem hostile to preservation, yet are nearly perfect for it. In the anaerobic depths of bogs, where oxygen simply cannot reach, decomposition ceases. The acidic, tannin-rich waters form a protective barrier around wood fibers, making them remarkably resistant to microbial attack. The absence of oxygen meant bacteria and fungi that would normally rot the wood, they simply could not survive. For structures exposed to air, they employed different strategies. They soaked timber in solutions rich in minerals leached from ash and charcoal, creating environments inhospitable to decay. They also used compounds derived from birch bark, which contains betulin, a substance that repels insects and inhibits fungal growth. By manipulating pH and chemical composition, they created conditions where rot-causing fungi just could not establish themselves. The wood itself became a fortress, its surface and subsurface transformed into terrain where agents of destruction simply could not survive. This was applied chemistry conducted with the precision of intuition refined by countless generations of observation. The archaeological evidence really validates these techniques with stunning clarity. Timbers recovered from Scandinavian bogs regularly display wood that, quite honestly, rivals modern chemical-treated alternatives in resistance to decay. Bridges built over 1,000 years ago remain structurally sound. Ship timbers discovered in Viking burial mounds can still be worked with tools. This durability wasn't accidental. It was engineered through knowledge and validated through the ultimate test, time itself. In our contemporary moment, we face a crisis the ancients never imagined: environmental devastation through relentless extraction of resources. We've clear-cut old-growth forests, poisoned rivers, and created mountains of waste. Yet as we gaze at the consequences of our industrial excess, we find ourselves turning back to ancient techniques, not from nostalgia, but really from necessity. The Scandinavian approach represents sustainability that predates the word itself. Consider the contrast. Today, when we need hardwood, we devastate tropical forests. Species taking millennia to establish themselves vanish within decades. The wood travels halfway around the world, consuming fuel and generating emissions. Yet modern timber often fails within a century. The ancient approach operated on different principles. They used abundant local pine. They accepted that creating enduring timber consumed years or decades, viewing this investment as natural and, necessary. A timber lasting 1,000 years, produced through sustainable local practices, represents infinitely greater value than wood produced in months, but crumbling within generations. This embodied what we now call the circular economy: extraction within natural regeneration cycles, production minimizing waste, creation of goods built to endure. Modern craftspeople are reviving these techniques. Researchers experimenting with extended air drying, natural preservatives, and careful selection of slow-grown timber discover that ancient methods combined with modern understanding yield extraordinary results. Timber densified through traditional compression techniques outperforms synthetic treatments in laboratory testing. These aren't quaint historical experiments. They represent genuine innovation, driven by recognition that our ancestors solved problems we're only now acknowledging. As we conclude this journey, we're left with a profound question. The ancients possessed technologies we've forgotten, knowledge encoded in forest growth and wood transformation. They created objects of such extraordinary durability that fragments still endure in the earth, testament to their mastery. Yet we've forgotten how to make things that last. The secret of transforming pine into unbreakable timber was never fundamentally about the wood itself. It was about patience, observation, and respect for natural processes. It was about understanding that certain goods are worth the investment of time. It was about recognizing that true sustainability emerges from working with nature rather than against it. The question now is whether we have the wisdom to apply what the ancients knew, whether we can rebuild a civilization that creates objects meant to endure in harmony with the natural world. This is the true legacy of Scandinavian craftsmanship, not museum techniques, but a living philosophy waiting to be reborn. If this story has ignited something within you, subscribe to Ancient Edge and join our community dedicated to unearthing the genius of the past. Share this video with those hungry for deeper understanding. The past is speaking. Will you listen?